All right, welcome in. So it's not the Friday night live stream. It's Wednesday night. Normally we do it on Friday, but I can't. I just can't do it this Friday. So it's a Wednesday night. It is probably not going to go for like the 4-hour plus thing that we normally do. Considering it's a Wednesday, probably a couple hours, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. We'll see if you guys want me to continue. I don't know. I don't know how this is going to go. I'm out here without a net every single time. All right. So what are we going to talk about tonight? Well, there's this kind of really hilarious thing. The official Elmo account got trolled seriously on the internet, which is pretty fun. And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Bud Light. It's interesting. Bud Light went with, obviously we all know what happened, right? We all know what happened with the boycotting. And then they went with the UFC, which was an interesting choice, right? Interesting choice. Exactly. We know what they're trying to do. And now they've got Shane Gillis, who's a comedian who was canceled. He was supposed to be on Saturday Night Live, and they canceled him because he did like a Chinese accent like 10 years ago or something. So there's interesting thoughts on this. What is Bud Light doing, and what does it mean? What does it mean for the culture that Bud Light has actually changed sides? It seems like they've kind of picked their side and they're going with it now. So we'll talk about that. We will talk about James O'Keefe, who's got a new undercover video out, and he's kind of reminding people that he's not in any danger of harming himself. I think because of the nature of the content that he's putting out. So we'll talk about that, and then we will just go through a bunch of stuff on Twitter that I've curated throughout the week. Just a bunch of just random shit that I thought might be fun to look at. So let's start out. So the official Elmo account decided to check in with everyone, and the replies were so bad that Sesame Street posted a mental health PSA. Elmo shouldn't be on the internet. That's a terrible idea. Terrible idea. Whoever's out there, let me know how the audio is. All right. So it says, yeah, this is from Not the Bee. If you've been around the internet or humanity in general for more than 5 minutes, you know exactly what was going to happen after Elmo's handlers posted this. Because you are human and are fascinated by the slow motion train wreck of our race, you clicked on this article to enjoy the free-for-all that you knew darn well was going to happen. Well, I'm not one to disappoint, so here are some of the funniest and most depressing replies. So what do we got here? Where is the tweet? All right, let's do this. So it says it's from the official Elmo account. Elmo is just checking in. How is everybody doing? And you can see immediately from Not to Be, the world is burning, Elmo. No amount of tickles can fix this. Elmo should not. Elmo should not be on the internet. It's not safe for him. Here's some others. Me getting ready to trauma dump on Elmo. This is why I love the internet, because things like this can happen. Terrible things like this can happen. This one says, Mayro says, Elmo, we are tired. How about this? It's reply to this tweet from Elmo. Elmo got the COVID vaccine today, just like Elmo's mommy and daddy. Elmo's daddy had a lot of questions, but Elmo's doctor said the vaccine would help keep Elmo healthy. And the reply is, have you fully recovered from your myocarditis? That's what I like to see. That is what the internet is there for. Here's one. Elmo, I just got laid off. Elmo. Why? Who let Elmo onto the internet? Terrible idea. Should not be allowed on social media. Just got to get traumatized. Every morning, I cannot wait to go back to sleep. Every Monday, I cannot wait for Friday to come. Every single day and every single week for life. This is just because Elmo asked. Elmo is just checking in. How is everybody doing? It's truly a thing of beauty. Uh, I'm gonna keep it a buck, Elmo. I'm not feeling very cash money. Oh dear. It's a Gundam said, people have lost all hope in a dystopian nightmare that was once called America. We are told not to trust our eyes and to believe the science, unless the science has to do with gender. We are all on the edge of a civil war, a world war, and a culture war. In the absence of God, there is only Taylor Swift. I really wish that I'd written that. What did Elmo think when he saw that? Let's see. The Lions and the Ravens lost, so not great, Elmo. Oh, dear. Thinking about that life, bro. There's a lot of these. I'm just going to keep going through them. Elmo, get out of here. It isn't safe. No, social media is not safe for Elmo. Living the dream, which in the Midwest roughly translates to someone needs to push me off a roof. Elmo couldn't have been expecting all of this. Let's see. I feel like we all died in 2020. Take that, Elmo. Take that. You asked for it. Lions fans tried not to trauma dump on Elmo like, yeah, this is the worst. We've been better, Elmo. Not murdery, not. Here's one. Well, Elmo, we're closer to nuclear war than we've been since Sesame Street was paved. Democrats are threatening to drone strike Americans who don't want Big Bird to be forced to share a nest with illegals. And most of your celebrity guests are creeps with ties to Epstein. Well, that is true. Now, I haven't seen anything, but was Elmo on Epstein Island? I don't know. Should be careful with that. You know, I got a video removed off YouTube because it just kind of mentioned the story about Stephen Hawking going to Epstein Island. And in that video, by the way, I said, I don't think the guy who can't move was getting into any orgies. And they removed my video and gave me a strike. Unbelievable. So you got to be careful. I mean, we're talking about Elmo here. They're probably pretty sensitive about it. But is he on the list? That's what I want to know. I mean, how well do any of us really know Elmo? Political Foolishness says, hey, Radio Baloney. Hey, how you doing, man? Glad to see you in the chat. Hope you're having a good night. But how well do we know Elmo? We don't. We don't at all. We only know what we see on TV and I guess through his publicist. Elmo, we can't afford to buy a new home. All Elmo did was ask. He was just checking in. How's everybody doing? So what's this? This is, of course, corporate America smelled blood in the water and knew where there's blood, there's money. So Among Us said suffering. They're too late. Too late to get in on this. Sour Patch Kids, do you want my real answer, Elmo? Brutal, we've got BOGO wing deals every Tuesday and Thursday from Buffalo Wild Wings. Not cool. This one's pretty good from Domino's Pizza UK. They're British. So that's actually pretty good. I'm all right with that one. I can take that one. Chipotle, we're not interested. Planet Fitness says out here being judgment free like we're supposed to be. What? Judgment free? A gym? Gyms are not for being judgment free. That's like the whole opposite thing about gyms. Gyms, you're supposed to, because James, it's all about judgment. You're trying to, well, you're trying to look better so that people will look at you a certain way and maybe judge you positively or negatively. So no, I don't think that's the thing. Being judgment free, no, no, that's not what gyms are about. Gym people are supposed to judge people who aren't fit. I think that's the whole point. I think that's why they're there. Says we started it by trauma dumping so hard on Elmo, the official Sesame Street account had to tweet out mental health resources. God help us. I think this is one of the more positive things that's happened this year. This and Ben Shapiro getting a number one, becoming a number one rapper in the United States, which I think is a marvelous thing. I made a video about it. Have you guys seen that? The Ben Shapiro thing? But the thing about it is, it's so damn funny. It's so damn funny. It's just not what anybody possibly could have expected. I mean, it came completely out of left field. Nobody had that on their bingo card. Ben Shapiro, number one rapper? I don't think so. But the thing about it is that the left-wing media went nuts, of course, right? And every article was cringe, cringe, cringe. And the truth is that it is not possible, as much as I find the whole thing hilarious, and I don't have a problem with Ben Shapiro, by the way, either. I don't agree with everything he says, but I don't agree with everything anyone says, so that's okay. But the thing about Ben Shapiro is there is no way on this planet, there is no way in the history of the universe, or as long as the universe will live for, there is no way that Ben Shapiro can rap and have it not be a little bit cringy. It's just not possible. It's kind of just baked into him. If he starts rapping, it's going to be a bit cringe. There's just no way out of that. But I think that makes it even more hilarious. I don't know what it all means. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. Maybe I'll give it I'll ponder it and I'll meditate on it and I'll do another video next week. All I know is that it's damn funny and it's pissing off leftists, which I appreciate. Worth it just for that. Let's see what else we got here. Well, there's some copium they're saying here. Copium. So, City of New York says, we're doing great, Elmo. And this is, of course, Elmo's just checking in. How's everybody doing? They said, we're doing great, Elmo. Jobs are up, crime is down, and we just got voted the best city in the world by Time Out. But as a fellow New Yorker, you already knew that last one. So, voted best city in the world by Time Out. Well, what is that like a magazine for rats? Interesting. Let's see. Greg says, Elmo gonna be rich when he gets his ad revenue on Friday. Maybe that's what it was all about. Maybe that's what it was all about. So it wasn't just, I think that's it for that. But it doesn't end there. You'll never believe this, but the president of the United States replied to Elmo after the internet trauma dumped on the little guy. People had thoughts. So this gets weirder, right? Hold on, let's see. President Biden. I know how hard it is. I mean, obviously Biden didn't write this, right? I think we all know that. I know how hard it is some days to keep the clouds away and to get sunnier days. Our friend Elmo is right. We have to be there for each other, offer our help to a neighbor in need, and above all else, ask for help when we need it. Even though it's hard, you're never alone. And somebody who works for Biden wrote that. And it's, well, I mean, it's just dreck, isn't it, really? It doesn't make me think that he's any less evil, that's for sure. So let's see. Let's see. After all, POTUS might be throwing peaceful Christians in jail for a decade for the crime of singing hymns in front of the entrance to an abortion clinic, but that doesn't mean he's not a nice guy. Yeah, we're not buying that. They're trying to convince everybody. I mean, they've been trying to convince everybody for years that he's this kindly old man. He doesn't seem that kindly to me. Let's see. Here are some supplies to our potato, some replies to our potato in chief. Let's see. There's Elmo. There's Joe and Joe Biden, and there's a nuclear explosion. And some people are worried that we're getting closer to that. There's a lot of chatter about World War III going on. And there certainly is a lot of, well, a lot of conflict around the world. It's not that long ago that there wasn't really much conflict at all going on, a lot less than there is now. And then suddenly, for some reason, in 2021, the whole world went to shit. That happened quick. It happened quicker than I thought it would, I have to say. All right. What else we got here? Will Smith, keep Elmo's name out your fucking mouth. Don't let him near Elmo. That man's unstable. I hope that Elmo didn't bang his wife. Yikes, that'd be messy. Let's see, what do we got here? Oh, we got How Retarded Chicks in the chat. How you doing? Haven't seen you for a little while in the chat. Hope you're doing well. World War III says, yep, that's scary, with a scary face emoji there. Not a big fan of it myself. I don't like being vaporized. At least I imagine that I don't like it. Probably most people wouldn't, I think. At least it will be over quickly. I guess that's the thing. Let's see. Internet Hall of Fame says this is where my tax money is going. Well, there are lots of other places. Libertarian Party of Tennessee. You're just like Elmo, a puppet. So that's not even really a joke. That's just, it's fairly serious, that one. Um Prayers for the theater kid that posted this. Looks like they're really going through it. Yeah. President of the United States using Elmo to make a point best fit for a hippie self-help book. This isn't a serious country. Well, you should visit Canada if you want to see a not serious country. It's even worse. Tampons in the men's rooms on military bases. That's pretty embarrassing. Our enemies seeing Joe Biden quote tweet Elmo. With this on, like 4 wars are going on, and this dude quote tweeting Elmo. Yeah. It's not very. I don't think he's reading the room that well. A puppet quoting a puppet. Ironic. Can we all just collectively refuse to accept elected officials talking to us like children? That'd be great. I think that's something that we can all do together. I know with I know in Canada. I mean, the thing is with Trudeau is that he basically is a child, so that's the only way he can talk to people. But we're shipping new smart bombs that recite these comforting words right before they strike your house. You all concerned Elmo so much, the literal president of the United States got involved. I am both horrified and impressed. Well, that's the internet. That's what it's here for, and it did good, in my opinion. Why is President Biden taking advice from Elmo? We are cooked. Yep. Well, again, Biden didn't actually write that, right? So it's as the other person said, some theater kid. um I legit thought that this was a parody at first. No, it's hard to tell parody anymore. I think the modern left, the progressives, are trying to kill satire. They're trying to kill parody just by being so ridiculous that it seems like nobody could make it up. That you don't have a chance to mock it because it's too ridiculous already. But let's move on. So I think this is kind of interesting. Bud Light partners with comedian Shane Gillis after companies fall from grace. Comedian announces partnership with Bud Light in a post on Instagram. So Shane Gillis is not woke, right? It's this guy here. He's not woke. I haven't seen a ton of his stuff. I've seen him on Rogan. I've seen a little bit of his stand up, and he's not woke, but he's not like a raging conservative or anything like that. I think he's kind of like a centrist. He's just kind of in the middle. He'll make fun of both sides, and that's totally fine. I think most people, certainly like conservatives or like, traditional liberals, the right in general, they're fine with that. They can take a joke. They're not so insecure. Left can't. So this guy, Shane Gillis, he is now signed a deal with Bud Light. And what does this say exactly? What does it say about Bud Light? What does it say about the boycott? Well, it says the boycott worked, is what it says. That's exactly what it says. So essentially, Bud Light has changed sides. So they were going in the direction of, progressive, woke, the pandering, all of the woke pandering, right? The diversity pandering, all the stuff that they never actually gave a shit about. And this proves that they never gave a shit about it, right? So they've switched course. Now, I mean, they've been hurt grievously. Bud Light has been hurt grievously by that boycott, right? They lost something like 30% of their business since then. So they went into panic mode. They didn't do much for a while. And then eventually they just decided, okay, well, there appears to be lasting damage done. The boycott was effective. I mean, it's got to be the most effective boycott that anybody's ever seen, doesn't it? Wouldn't you think? And so they panicked. And then they went and they offered a bunch of money to UFC. And everybody, myself included, at first thought, UFC, what the hell are you doing? Why are you doing that? Like, that's not a good look for you, right? This brand is going down hard. And, for good reason. But then we heard Sean Strickland, and this is before UFC, was it 297 a couple of weeks ago? Before that, he was talking about it just on his own. I think just, recording himself on his phone, streaming from his phone, and saying, no, Bud Light now stands behind what I say, what UFC fighters say. And that's a win. So we've made them switch sides. Let's see if they stand behind what I say at my next fight. And as we all saw a couple of weeks ago, Strickland went in hard. He went on hard on those reporters, and he left no doubt whatsoever where he stands politically, and it sure as hell ain't woke. And what happened? Nothing. Bud Light stayed there. Bud Light stayed. I didn't see any press releases, saying, oh, we strongly disagree with Sean Strickland. I didn't say anything. Nothing happened to Sean Strickland. The fight went ahead. Everything's fine. It was in Toronto. The Canadian media got all up in arms and having a hissy fit, and they're very sensitive souls. And so it's to be expected. But nothing happened, And I don't know if that's improved Bud Light sales or not, but they're going in with Shane Gillis now, a guy who was canceled from SNL for a woke heresy, right? He was supposed to be, he was accepted for SNL, Saturday Night Live, and somebody found like a tape of him, like 10 seconds from 10 years ago, where he was doing a Chinese accent. And that was it. He was gone. Not a surprise from Saturday Night Live, because, I mean, they are woke as hell. Awful. Have you tried to watch that show? It's unbelievably terrible. They have such a narrow band of what's acceptable for them to make fun of. That it's there's the only jokes they can make. It's like Trump jokes or like making fun of like American Southerners just over and over and over again. That's basically all they've got. And after a while, well, it doesn't feel very creative and it's just not fun anymore. So, and that's because they got rid of people like this, like he just wasn't allowed in. Right? And he's funnier than anybody they have on there now. But he wasn't going to work. And I imagine probably wouldn't have worked in the long run anyway, because it would have been so constraining for him. How can you even add anything? Even if you have talented people in a writer's room and performers that are actually talented, actually, and can actually be funny, if they're not allowed to tell any of their jokes because somebody somewhere might be offended for some reason, well, it's going to suck anyway. It doesn't matter. So, this is Bud Light just doubling down, as far as I can tell. Just saying, yeah, we've picked our side now. We've picked our side, and it's not woke. And that's a win, in my opinion. I think it's an obvious win. That's an obvious win in the culture war. They've switched sides. And other companies, other marketing directors are going to take note of all of this, especially if their sales improve. I mean, they've got a tough road. I mean, they really did destroy their brand. In fact, I think there's a clip here of him and Joe Rogan talking about how much they destroyed their brand. Or maybe there's not. I think I might have one in my Twitter bookmarks. We might be able to find that later. Let's see. I think there might be a quote in here. Yeah, okay. So him and Joe Rogan were talking about it. Gillis told Rogan, it became a joke. That's tough to overcome, marketing-wise. It's tough to get people to order a Bud Light publicly. They're going to get made fun of. There's never been a brand that has been hit like this before, Rogan added. Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, I mean, it's historic. It'll be taught in like marketing courses for decades, I'm certain. If there's marketing courses in 100 years, it'll be taught in that because it's a historic blunder. And that is hard to overcome because people now just have it in their head that it's not cool to drink Bud Light. You're not going to look, you're going to look woke. You're going to look suspect in some way, right? Amongst the core group of people that actually liked Bud Light before in the first place. It's a historic thing. All right. Let's go to James O'Keefe. So, well, I'll just read this. Breaking video. Top White House cyber official tells O'Keefe in disguise, quote, they can't say it publicly. The White House wants to replace Kamala Harris and confirms President Joe Biden mental decline. Quote, Biden is definitely slowing down. I mean, this is stuff that, it's not really, we all kind of knew it, but it's just more confirmation that these are things that are being talked about in the White House. Quote, I'm just telling you what I've heard. They're really concerned about it. I think they need to get rid of him or her. But no one in modern history has ever said, like, we're not going to renominate the president for a second term. Yeah, it's a pickle. I mean, the interesting thing is that they act like, especially when you see with the border, the administration and Biden himself, they act like they're not concerned about losing the election. It's really weird. They're behaving as if they know they're going to win. I mean, the border issue, the border fiasco is, it's political suicide, right? It's a complete disaster. It is not popular. And it's not popular across, voting blocks. You're seeing, a lot of anger coming out of the, black communities. in the United States over it, right? In fact, saying things like, if you're for open borders, we're not for you. We're for whoever is not for open borders, whoever is for border security. So it seems like political suicide, right? And it's the behavior of somebody who just has no fear of losing. I mean, you can do with that what you will. Let's take a look at this video from James O'Keefe. Now, this is the weirdest thing. Like, this guy's in cybersecurity for the Biden administration, right? And that's James O'Keefe. So what they normally do is they normally send somebody else, right? They send, they'll, the saying was that, if you're out for dinner with a hot girl, it's James O'Keefe, right? Because she was working for him. If you were somebody with any kind of position of power in a sensitive area, right? Well, this is just him. This is just James O'Keefe. He dyed his hair and he's got glasses on. And you are, high ranking in the White House. You deal with cybersecurity. You don't know who James O'Keefe is. How does everybody there not have isn't shown like a picture of James O'Keefe on day one? All right. So it's astounding, isn't it? I mean, and this is obviously he's posing as a gay man, and this is a gay man here. And I guess he just really, really wanted a hookup, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it never actually got that far. um, but let's take a look. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm fairly high up. I'm good at keeping secrets, and so I manage 2 federal agencies, the State Department and USAID.
So when you say it's like security, like you're protecting
the networks of the federal agencies
You're
that you give all your information to.
the
I need a
mission
coder.
is to protect
Right, yes.
information.
And we are like the president's voice when we go into meetings in terms of discussing and promoting the president's priorities.
Is he going to be the nominee?
Yes. And she will be the vice president nominee.
Yeah, I don't.
There was a debate about removing her from the ticket, but sadly they didn't.
She can't keep black
Oh.
staff.
So he's revealing there that there was a debate about removing Kamala Harris from the ticket. So, well, that's interesting. I mean, that's not at all surprising. But I mean, this is a guy who, cybersecurity policy analyst and foreign affairs executive office of the president. I mean, wow. They're not. I mean, he's just singing like a what, a canary? I mean, with no prompting. He thinks he's out on a date, and does he do that? I mean, how hard would it be to be like a Chinese spy? I mean, it sounds like it would be the easiest job in the world. I mean, Eric Swalwell's driver, Bang Bang. Oh, sorry, Fang Fang. It was Bang Bang Fang Fang, right? And she was a Chinese spy. It's got to be the easiest job in the world. They're probably just paying him like minimum wage. It's just such an easy job. Well, Bad Seed 828 says if Kamala was honest and switched to Republican, she would be liked a lot more. She's a conservative lying her ass off trying to be a progressive. All the money. My sense of Kamala is that she just wants power. And I think it's just a path of least resistance thing with her. I imagine that's how it works for a lot of politicians. Here's just the road that will be easier for me given my circumstances. I doubt, to be honest, I just doubt that she has any political conviction or principles in any way. I think she's like Biden. And to be fair, like a lot of politicians on every side. I think that's been made, perfectly clear over the last few years, hasn't it? That's not to say that they're all horrible. I don't think they all are horrible. I think Trump is sincere. I'm going to go ahead and say that. I like Trump. I think he's sincere. But I think a lot of them are, and Kamala, I mean, yeah, she just strikes me as somebody who doesn't really have any principles. No, maybe I'm wrong, but I just doubt it very, very much. But he's letting it go. This guy who's, you know, I'm assuming he has some sort of important clearance. Just singing like again, it would be the easiest job in the world. I mean, he's got James Lindsay sitting right in front of him, right? Who just dyed his hair and has glasses on, and he still doesn't know. He's a cybersecurity expert. What? What the hell is going on here? I mean, it speaks to a level of incompetence and dysfunction happening within that administration, you know? So you have to ask the question as well. I mean, okay, is this guy qualified? Was he picked to fill in a blank, right? So he's one of the letters in the LGBTQ. Did that have something to do with his hiring? These are the questions you have to ask. I mean, this seems like it's beyond incompetence, isn't it? Like nobody ever taught this guy loose lips sink ships, right? Loose lips sink ships. And he's blabbing here about how they're having a debate about getting rid of Kamala Harris. I mean, he's supposed to, I'm pretty sure he's not supposed to just tell that to everybody he meets, you know, goes out on a date or, you know, the clerk, you know, the clerk at the grocery store, you know, or the bank teller, or just, you know, somebody at a bus stop. For all we know, he wrote it on a big sign or spray painted it on the front of his house. I don't know. Anyway, the guy talks pretty easy.
They quit on her in mass.
But with him, I
know.
he's got dementia.
Oh, hold on a second. So that's something else here. Hold on.
And she will be the vice president nominee.
Yeah, I don't.
There was a debate about removing her from the ticket, but sadly they didn't. She can't keep black staff. They quit on her in mass.
But with him, I mean,
so he's also saying that she can't keep black staff. I think I've heard rumors of this before as well, actually, but they quit on her en masse. And I've definitely heard rumors, you know, people say, I've definitely heard rumors about her having a hard time keeping staff because apparently she's awful. She's so awful that even a, you know, fairly prestigious job like that, people are just not willing to put up with it. Because apparently she is horrible and mean and nasty, you know, and narcissistic and petty and spiteful. I mean, these are just the things you hear, but I mean, here's some confirmation. So a lot of this stuff we already kind of knew. It's just that we're getting some additional confirmation here.
I know.
he's got dementia.
Yeah, well, he's definitely slowing down.
But they know that he has those issues.
I think so.
But they're not willing to say it.
Shows it. And
They're not willing to say it publicly.
And same thing
But
with
why
Kamala
not?
Harris. She's not popular, but you can't remove the first black lady to be vice president from the goddamn presidential ticket. Like, what kind of message are you going to send to, like, the African American voter? How would you spin that? People would be like, what the fuck? Like she's.
It's an amazing thing. And I know that politics always goes into who becomes the vice president. But I mean, just somebody who's high up there talking about it so openly that it is just purely political, right? Like they don't like her, they don't want her there, but it's just, it would be politically incorrect to replace her. You know, what's good for the country? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. How would you spin it? That's what he said. How are you going to spin that? I mean, you could just tell the truth, right? But that's not going to happen. We are talking about politics after all.
She's a woman and she's multiracial. I think that they're really concerned about this.
But they won't say it. Well, I guess if they say it publicly,
Correct.
that Biden they can't say it publicly.
No, they got to
Do
toe
they
the
say it
line.
privately? But they won't say it publicly.
Correct.
That Biden they can't say it publicly.
No, they got to
Do
toe
they say
the
it
line.
privately? I mean,
I'm just
You're
telling you
just-
what I've heard.
you're
Like,
just-
yep.
You're just telling me the truth.
Does it make sense? No, but
I mean,
that's what I've heard.
I'm-
I've had a meeting with Michelle Obama at one point when I was an intern.
This is interesting because it touches on the Michelle Obama question, right? I think there's a lot of people that are convinced that Michelle Obama was going to run, that they're going to get rid of Joe and replace him with Michelle Obama. There's been a lot of talk about that, but let's hear what this guy has to say because he's closer to it all than we are.
I'm just telling you what I've heard. Like,
You're just telling me the truth.
Does it make sense? No, but that's what I've heard.
I'm-
I've had a meeting with Michelle Obama at one point when I was an intern, and someone asked her, "Will you ever run for office?" And she said no, emphatically.
Really?
I've seen all the shit my husband has had to go through, and that does not interest me. People would be like, "Well, I don't think we should have to get the vaccine." I'm like,
So he's saying that's at some point in the past that Michelle Obama said that. Maybe things have changed. I don't know. You would have thought that she would have been more public if that was something. I mean, at this point, it's getting late, right? But she would have been, making the rounds, made herself more public by now if she were going to. So I don't expect it to happen. I think probably what will happen is that the most likely is that Joe Biden just does the same as 2016, only even less, and just really hides and then lets the media, the media attack dogs just go after Trump nonstop, which is what they did last time. But, this time he'll be even less visible because he's clearly not up to it, and the more that he's out, the more frightening it becomes, I think, for many Americans to think that he's the guy in charge. And also that they think that he's not actually in charge anyway. That he can't possibly be in charge because, well, he's just obviously not. He can't get through a sentence. He's almost as bad as me. All right, let's keep going.
like, you're not going to get the vaccine, and then you're going to go expose my family in
Exactly.
the hospital
Exactly.
to your vaccinated COVID. Like, you.
So you work in cybersecurity for the White House, and my question is, what are you doing?
This is brutal. This is absolutely brutal. And again, he just had glasses on. He just takes his glasses off. I mean, let's okay.
Exactly.
Exactly. Your vaccinated COVID. Like, you.
So you work in cybersecurity for the White House, and my question is, what are you doing on a meeting with James O'Keefe? What type of cybersecurity operation you guys running over there?
Brutal. I almost feel sorry for the guy. Almost. You're on cybersecurity and you're sitting in front of James O'Keefe. How they don't have everybody memorize the face of this guy, I don't know. I mean, that is incompetence.
We're running a good cybersecurity operation.
Obviously not.
Obviously not. We're running a good cybersecurity operation. Obviously not. I'm James Lindsay, and you just told me everything. I mean, it's pathetic. It's genuinely pathetic. I'm not going to play this. Like another 10 minutes. I'm not going to play it all for you. You guys can find it on Twitter, X, formerly Twitter, easily enough. Bad Seed says that why these fools speak to O'Keefe is beyond me. They know what he does, and this is our foreign affairs and cybersecurity analyst. He can't secure his own interview. I know, right? This is what's so bizarre. Although it's not bizarre if the foundation of the entire administration is incompetence. If they just don't care, right? They're increasingly acting like, to me, again, like an administration and a president that is just not concerned with losing in an election year. The border stuff is freaking bizarre. Trying to sue Texas to prevent them from stopping people illegally crossing the border in an election year. In a year when people, in inner cities and, those deep blue areas are revolting over what's happening to them as the migrants are being bussed into their cities. It's astonishing. Let's see. RSN 40 says wearing the Clark Kent disguise. Exactly, right? Like, there he is. He's just put on glasses and now nobody knows who he is. How is this? I mean, the balls of James Lindsay to just dye his hair blonde and put on glasses and go do his own honeypot interview. I mean, you gotta take your hat off to the guy. It's impressive. That's an impressive guy. Now he did, Betsy says, I just said that. LOL. It's an amazing thing, isn't it? It's an amazing thing. And now apparently, I don't think I have this. But James Lindsay put out a tweet talking about how he's not having any plans to do anything bad to himself. And it's obviously related to this interview. This is a big deal, right? Like going after the White House itself. I mean, that's real journalism, right? It's real journalism. But it's not something that this White House is used to. Like, this White House is used to just pandering, right? Like, nobody would dare do something like if NBC, if this had been pitched to like NBC or CNN, there's no fucking way they're going to do it. They have no interest in that whatsoever. So it's up to this guy to dye his hair blonde and put on some glasses and hope that nobody recognizes him. It's incredible. And unfortunately, the Cybersecurity and Foreign Affairs office at the White House is completely hopeless. I mean, it's pretty damn shocking. The disguise is stellar. This guy was clueless. James O'Keefe, but as undercover gay man. I mean, it's funny, but it's actually sad, right? James O'Keefe says, the manner matters more than your disguise. Well, he was acting differently there. Obviously, he wasn't acting like himself. So, I don't know. What else we got down here? Your disguise is the best part. What is this? This is Danny Polishchuk. He's actually pretty funny. I'm not sure if I've seen this one before. Let's take a look.
Hi there, my name is Mike Timlin, and up until a few days ago, I was a journalist working for Project Veritas. If you know about Project Veritas, then you know that they are willing to do whatever is needed to expose people that need to be exposed and expose the truth. What a lot of people don't realize about being a journalist with Project Veritas is that you have to do a ton of gay stuff, like a ton. It's so much, it's crazy. And sometimes you don't even get anything out of it. Sometimes it's just a dead end, and then you just did all this gay stuff. And I'm not even gay. I'm not against it, but I'm a happily married man, but I'm also a journalist. To get the biggest scoops, you got to go on a lot of dates, usually gay ones. And, they're not giving up info until the third, fourth, sometimes even fifth dates. But you have had to get your boots dirty. And that means a whole lot of sucking, random dudes doing poppers. You're up till 6 a.m. With tons of guys just getting banged out, all in the pursuit of truth. People don't know this, but 72% of all Pulitzer Prize winning journalists have done something gay to get that story. Most recently, I was actually the journalist who secretly recorded the Pfizer director spilling all his secrets about what they've been up to with COVID-19 and the vaccine. I cannot express to you enough how much depraved gay stuff I had to do on that first and second day in order to get him comfortable enough to come clean on that third date. Sometimes you're talking 7, 8 dates. And boy, at that point, you have done so much gay shit. You've been fucking, you've been sucking, you've been fucking their friends, you've been getting while they watch you, you've been getting cucked. Suck. Absolutely everything. So to all the young men out there who want a career in gotcha journalism, just let me tell you that you're going to have to do a lot of gay stuff. A ton. It's honestly crazy how much gay stuff you have to do.
That was actually from last year, but yeah, there was another. This is like the Pfizer guy was gay, so they had to do another. It wasn't James O'Keefe, but it was another journalist. I believe this came out just after that. So that's funny. Anything else in here? Things could be worse. Re-elect me and I'll prove it. Well, there's Malay, Javier Malay. I like him. He's saying you can't give shit leftists an inch, and I agree with that. All right, so I think it's the time in the evening when we just go to all this shit that I've compiled in my bookmarks over the week so far on Twitter, or X now, and let's see what all these crazy people are doing. Let's see. Doctor says she will die on the hill. Hold on 1 second. She will die on the hill that kids should have access to irreversible puberty blockers and sex change surgeries. This is just like fucking alternate universe shit. I can't believe that this is real, but let's take a look.
I'm a doctor, and apparently the state of Texas needs to reconsider what it considers child abuse. Because you know it's abusive? Ignoring the needs of your child when your child is telling you what they need. And engaging in behavior.
So this is a doctor. This is a doctor saying that you should believe a child's self-diagnosis on something as serious as gender dysphoria, which is, which is considered still to this day to be a mental illness in the, the kind of holy Bible of psychotic, it's like psychiatric diseases. So this is a doctor saying that it's a tragedy if you don't believe your child's self-diagnosis. I thought that's what doctors were for. What she's talking about is the affirming care, gender affirming care. And that's the law of the land in Canada, by the way, which is fucking insane. They actually passed a bill on it. And what it means is that you cannot, like in Canada, a doctor cannot say, well, okay, you say that you're gender dysphoric, but maybe you need to talk to a counselor, a psychologist or something. We're going to wait before we give you drugs, hormones, and all of that. In Canada, if you do that, which would be the responsible thing to do, obviously, right? In Canada, if you're a doctor and do that, you can lose your license, but you probably will. So you have to just be immediately on top of it. You have to just say, yes, your self-diagnosis is absolutely true. And I believe in, like, there's a bunch of states in the United States that also go by this, gender affirming care model, which is, I mean, to my mind, just completely fucking insane. But let's continue.
Behavior as a parent that could lead them to unalive themselves. Over 80% of trans youth have admitted to having thoughts about unaliving themselves, and over 50% have actually attempted it. In these individuals.
And yes, cutting off their genitals is going to make that less likely. I'm just seeing a flaw in her logic here.
individuals, denying them care that we know is life-saving is child abuse. And it is.
They don't know that it's life-saving. In fact, there's no evidence that it is. They talk about results after like a year, like a check-in after a year or 2 years. They have absolutely no idea what's going to happen to these kids that they're giving hormones to, and they're socially transitioning first, then giving hormones to, and then giving like double mastectomies. They're chemically castrating. They have absolutely no idea where these kids are going to be in 5 years and 10 years and 20 years and 30 years. They can't know that because this is new. This is a giant experiment. It's both a social and a medical experiment that's happening on mass scale. This is the attitude of a cult member. Somebody who just doesn't care about reality. Somebody so reckless that they would permanently change the bodies of young people, of teenagers, forever, all right? On no evidence. She thinks that there's evidence. There is no evidence, right? There's a reason why, the Scandinavian countries are all taking a step back. It's not just them too. It's throughout Europe. It's France. It's Great Britain. I've talked many times about the Tavistock Clinic in London being sued by 1,000 families. That was like a couple of years ago. It was 1,000, probably more by now. 1,000 families of young people who were given gender-affirming care, so-called gender-affirming care by doctors, handing out hormones. These hormones change these kids forever. They're on them long enough, change them forever. For some reason, they're not interested in any of that. They just have this insane cult-like determination to just keep going. Just keep doing it. It's not, this isn't they're not going by the do no harm credo. I can tell you that much.
Proven that providing them gender affirming care strongly reduces those risks. Don't worry, I got plenty of receipts for these comments. You can check my link tree. I will die on this hill. Trans rights are human rights. And it doesn't matter the age of the person. We all deserve to live our truth.
That doesn't mean anything. Trans rights are human rights. What? Yes, we all have human rights. They're not different. What she's saying is that trans people have different rights. They have another set of rights. Maybe a child has a right to not be experimented on by adults. Adults that obviously should know better. Obviously, she's saying she's got all the receipts. No, she fucking doesn't. She has no idea where these people will be in 20 years. No idea. Anyway. I just, let's linger one more. I think this is a kind of psychopathy, actually, that's brought on by wokeness and by far-left ideology. Because it is. I mean, a sane person would think, okay, all of these, even if it was like 1 out of 10 kids was going to have their life completely ruined, not be happy, that it wouldn't work, that it wouldn't reduce suicidal ideations. Even if it was just 1 out of 10, right? That a responsible person, a person with a conscience would have, cause for thought on that. They would stop. They'd say, hold on, we need to think about this a bit more. A sane person, a person with a conscience, or a responsible person would do that. Would they not? Of course, I mean, they have, as I said, they have absolutely no fucking idea where these kids are going to be in 5 years, never mind 20 years. Bad Seed 828 says, life-saving means they won't kill themselves, but most do after surgery. Yeah, I mean, she does not have any evidence that this reduces anything. I mean, it also just defies common sense as well, right? You've got a confused, awkward, maybe on the spectrum kid, right? And you sterilize them. You sterilize them. You say that just saved their life. It doesn't make any fucking sense. You have a 16-year-old girl, you give her a double mastectomy, and you say, well, I just saved her life. What? How do you know? What they do is they base it off, again, what I'm going to say again, what they do is they base it off check-ins after like 12 months or like 18 months, right? Well, you've got the sunk cost in. So if you check in on somebody after 12 months, it means nothing. Again, you've already got the sunk cost into it. You've got along with it. You've got peer pressure happening now. You don't want to change your mind because everybody's encouraging you. She has no idea where that same kid is going to be in 10 years when they realize, fuck, I'm sterile. I can't have a kid. Or why did I get rid of my breasts? Or this is not actually my body. This is not how my body is supposed to actually be. Why didn't the adults let me develop normally? Aren't they supposed to protect me from this? From making insane decisions? That's kind of like why they don't let kids drive at 10, or drink at 8. Anyway, it's fucking demented. And that person's going to hell. Why be anti-communist or anti-fascist when you could just be anti-authoritarian? Well, yeah, it's really the best way, isn't it? I mean, the thing is, communism and fascism are just two sides of the same coin, right? They're both leftist ideologies. They're both collectivist ideologies. One is race Marxism and one is class Marxism, essentially. So, yeah, I mean, there's nothing more obvious than the fact that both fascism and communism are terrible, even if you don't understand that they're both left-wing ideologies. Anyway, I liked King of the Hill. I haven't seen that in, God, probably decades. Try and find some old episodes. RSN 40 says, or as this woke doctor says, unalive themselves. I mean, maybe that's to get past the censors. Maybe it's just that in her, if she's at all sane, there must be a voice in the back of her head saying, maybe you're actually causing what you pretend that you're trying to prevent. Maybe it's a reaction to that, to just a psychological discomfort there. That's just an obvious fucking truth. Teachers, when I was a kid, I hope everybody had a good recess. It's time for math. Teachers now, whiteness is privilege. Now who is ready to hear about my sexuality? I sure never heard about any of that stuff. Did anybody watching, listening right now, anybody ever know anything about your teachers? I sure as hell didn't. They seem awful. They seem more interested now. Now, of course, this isn't all teachers. We see, the worst ones. But the fact that the worst ones have jobs and they're teaching and they're putting this shit on social media and nothing happens tells you it's not good, that it's bad, that there's a lot of that going on. If you're able to do it that openly, it's everywhere. Well, how about this from Libs of TikTok? A homeless shelter was set up next to an elementary school in Beaverton, Oregon. So let's just read that again. A homeless shelter was set up next to an elementary school. A homeless shelter next to an elementary school in Beaverton, Oregon. Students are subjected to constant disturbances from the shelter, including overdoses, drugs, and assaults. Mom slammed the city in a letter after a homeless man lit himself on fire in front of the school windows this week. Again, these are all things that nobody should have to be told. Like, that's a bad idea, right? Like, you shouldn't have to be told, like double mastectomies for 15-year-old girls. Bad idea. You should already know that. Homeless homeless camps, homeless shelters next to elementary schools is just a bad idea. Because of like drugs and assaults and stuff. And generally, they're not the kind of people that should be trusted anywhere near children. Yeah. Because, yeah, apparently they do things like light themselves on fire in front of the children. How was school today? Oh, a homeless man lit himself on front of me. Yeah, that's not supposed to happen. He at least could have done it in science class, for God's sakes. Then the kid's got to learn something. I guess maybe it teaches them to not be like that. Let's see. Let's take a look at the letter. Good evening. The day started with me picking up 2 used tinfoils with drug remnants from our property and disposing of them. One of our preschool door and one by our kindergarten door. Our youngest students. Jesus Christ. Fire everybody. Just fire them and just shut the school down until they can behave responsibly. Betsy 828 says, I knew my teacher surfed. Okay, well, that's fine. Of the 20 I had, only one loved telling surf stories. Well, you know what? I knew one of my teachers played guitar. Well, he's actually the guitar teacher, so I guess I would have known that. But I didn't know anything else about him. Surfing is fine, right? Surfing's fine. That's wholesome. That's different than the 50 genders. Let's see. So tinfoils with drug remnants. Now, like, if there's just even a grain of fentanyl in that, right? Just it's over, right? Like, come on. Then, as most of you know, today a homeless individual from the shelter on 5th and Hall Boulevard set himself on fire in the park next to our school at 1:00 in the afternoon. At the city library in front of all our elementary school windows and 2 middle school windows for children to see. There were dozens of police, fire ambulances, and even life flight. What's that mean? I don't know. Enough is enough. This is not acceptable. It will no longer be tolerated. Yeah, I think that the whole drugs everywhere and people lighting themselves on fire, that's when you put your foot down, right? Well, it wasn't too bad up until that man lit himself on fire and we found the drug tins everywhere, tinfoils. Again, nobody it should never get to this point. Who's making the decisions that allow this to happen? Is it just people without children? Is it childless people that are allowing this to happen? They have no stake in anything, so it doesn't really matter. It's not their kids. It just simply doesn't matter to them. It's just virtue signaling is the most important thing. And so, whatever, I'm sure it'll be okay. I'm sure not too many homeless people will light themselves on fire in front of the students. One a week at most. I don't know. I mean, you read this stuff and it's hard to believe. It all just feels like an alternate universe. Like this just all happened while we were all asleep. Don't let Trump cheat. Demand voter ID and paper ballots. Well, that's never going to happen. That's never. I think everybody knows why that's never going to happen, right? And that's the thing. It's an open secret. I think even the Democrats, like the voters, know. I'm sure a lot of them know why. They just don't care because it's team sports. So I'm sure you'll be pleased to know that Trudeau is working with our communist NDP party in Canada now to change the voting laws here. Expand the amount of time you can vote and expand the number of places you can vote, and also expand mail-in voting for some reason. I'm sure it'll all be fine. Of course, that's a good thing. They're just trying to make it easier for people to vote. That's why you need more mail-in voting. And they haven't mentioned anything about removing requirements for like identification or anything, but I mean, the mail-in voting thing's interesting because mail-in voting just necessarily, you can't do it without reducing security, without adding in like an extra link into the chain of custody. You just simply can't do it. You can't do it without introducing risk, period. And I think that the real reason people would like to do that, what Trudeau would like to do that, is to introduce risk into it. Well, Bad Seed says Oregon has too much free stuff. Homeless paradise. Buses are free, water fountains spew water, museums, etc. Freeloader heaven. Is it like that in the whole state, or is it just in? I know Portland is homeless paradise. Is it the entire state though? Because I know that outside of Portland, it gets pretty conservative out there. In fact, I think there were counties in Oregon that were looking to like secede from Oregon and join Idaho, was it? I don't know. You guys can tell me in the chat. But yeah, so of course the media here assures us that Trudeau is just trying to extend it's no big deal. He's just trying to extend the vote. And of course they're keeping it all very kind of secret, but he's just trying to make it easier for people to vote, get more people voting. That's good for democracy, right? They know exactly why he's fucking doing it. Trudeau does nothing unless it benefits him. He's taken a look at the states. He accuses the conservatives here of just everything is just American MAGA style politics in Canada, right? Everything he does, he copies from the states, including the MAGA extremism bullshit. Everything he fucking does. They have Hillary Clinton at their convention, at the Liberal Party convention. And he's seen how well this mail-in voting thing has gone for Biden. And he wants some of that. He wants some of that magic. He wants some of that middle of the night. They shut down voting, or shut down counting. Only they didn't really shut down counting. And then in the morning, whoa, it's a miracle. Trudeau wants some of that. I guarantee you. Trudeau does nothing unless it benefits him. There is absolutely no way Trudeau would be looking to revise our voting laws before the next election, right? So there's an election coming up in 2025. Before then, there's no way he's going to do that unless he thinks he's getting an advantage in some way. So, Jesus fucking Christ. This guy's a nightmare. Anyway, let's continue. I like this one. How do you report someone who makes money under the table? Joe Jorgensen says, you shut the fuck up. That's how. That's good. I agree with that. What's going on here? This is weird. Okay, this isn't political or anything. This is just kind of a weird thing. Like, what is he just switches? Like, what? Like, he's got his high guard up so high that he can't, I don't know. Anyway, he gets the shit knocked out of him there. He should not be a kickboxer, I don't believe. So our schools, from Luke Rutkowski, our schools are teaching children about proper gender pronouns. Meanwhile, I guess this is China. They're not teaching them gender pronouns there. They are getting them prepared for conflict, it appears. And interestingly, TikTok is owned by a Chinese company. TikTok. You know, the one that's, I think, the major kind of conduit for the social contagions that are sweeping across the Western world. They don't actually run that stuff on the Chinese version, the kind of walled off Chinese version of TikTok. It's all like school stuff, educational stuff, and stuff like this. They don't let that shit on their TikTok. That's just for Western consumption for some reason. All right, 17-second movie with a classic 3-act structure. Problem, action, conclusion. All right, let's take a look.
Не подходи. Близко не подходи. Я тебя еще раз предупреждаю, сделаешь шаг, я тебя залью перцовым баллоном.
Oh.
Я тебе не подходи.
Well, she was warned. She was definitely warned. The way she just like kind of goes over like that, it kind of like makes you think that she's not actually that hurt. I mean, watch. It seems theatrical. Yikes. She should have backed the fuck up. Elon Musk says if Denver is having trouble with 40,000 illegals, how will they handle the next 400,000? The illegal influx is growing exponentially and just exceeded babies born in America last month. That's incredible, right? And the amazing thing is, the otherworldly thing about it is that, I mean, it is the official, I mean, right now, I think you can say it's the official policy, the official border policy of the current president of the United States is to facilitate an invasion of his own country to the tune of, I think at this point, there are numbers that I'm hearing between 8, 9, 10 million people. So if he were to have another term, that would be, you know, like minimum 20 million people. And it's the official policy. I mean, I know it's not the official, he's not saying it, but it's clear by the actions, right? Like the suing of Texas to try and take down the border barriers, the razor wire and all of that. It is clearly what he's working towards. It's what he wants, right? Did anybody think that they would ever live to see that day when, like, an American president would be actually trying to prevent border states from stopping people entering the country illegally? And keep in mind, these are people that don't have ID. The people who aren't going through, the official border, entrance and exit places, the border ports, right? They're throwing their ID away before they get to the border. They have no idea who these fucking people are. Zero. And like anybody who's been paying attention, I mean, like in Mexico, they have essentially a parallel state, right? The narco state. Like, you probably want to know who's coming in, right? Venezuela emptying their prisons, sending them up north. It's like, if it were in a movie, you wouldn't believe it. Like, if that had been like in a movie, political thriller or something from 10 years ago, you wouldn't believe it. It'd be too far-fetched. What? No, president like openly like suing Texas to stop them from preventing people from entering the country illegally? No, that's not realistic. I don't believe that. Let's see. Bad Seed says, "Hi, radio. You're doing great. Loving channel. A tip: I think you should read comments before moving to the next section. Right now, you're talking MAGA. You mean the comments? The comments on these? You mean on the Twitter stuff? Yeah." No, you're right, and I often forget to do that, actually. So let's go in here. Let's go back. Let's take a step back. I'm doing this for you. All of them would lose an eye if they actually fired a live round. Yeah, but they're little kids. Well, they're learning wrong and developing bad habits, so I guess that's one. But I think the point is that they're learning a mindset, right? Like it's the mindset. They can be trained later properly, right? But they're learning a mindset that they are there to. They have a responsibility and a duty towards their country and towards obviously the state. It's China. It's the Chinese Communist Party, right? The state is everything. That's what they're learning, right? They're learning that they might have to suffer, and it's expected of them, and it's their duty. Whereas, here kids are learning that they might be born in the wrong body. Let's see. Let's move on from this one. All right, where were we? Get out of the city. Let's see. Denver sets limit on shelter stays due to 40,000 migrant arrivals. Starting February 5, Denver will impose limits on the days migrants can stay in shelters due to the strain caused by an influx of nearly 40,000 migrants over the past year. Says those exceeding the shelter stay limit will be directed to the streets. So fucking madness. Mayor Mike Johnson estimates the city will require $100 million in 2024 to cover housing, schooling, healthcare, and other services due to the unexpected influx of migrants. I mean, this is fucking lunacy. This is unbelievably lunacy. It's absolute lunacy. The city with a population of just over 710,000 has become a top destination per capita for migrants arriving from the U.S. southern border. Denver Health, the city's safety net hospital, is seeking additional funds from both state and federal sources to address $10 million in unpaid medical bills incurred from migrants. So the question is always, where is somebody's line, right? Like in Canada, we found out where a lot of independent voters, kind of non-political people, where their line is. And it's Trudeau. Trudeau was their line, right? People who just didn't care or were just kind of just perpetually liberal, just grew up. They were culturally liberal party. Parents had been, they always had been, and didn't really think about it. Things had never been that terrible in Canada. I mean, we had liberal governments, conservative governments. Some were better than others, but nobody was fucking crazy, right? Nobody was a complete fucking lunatic. No, not until now, not until we got Trudeau. Everybody was asleep. Everybody just expected the government be run, reasonably well, at least. It wasn't going to just suddenly be flushed down the toilet by a lunatic. So, Trudeau is not very popular right now. The Conservatives, if the election were held today, would win a majority, almost certainly, probably by a wide margin. So a lot of Canadians have found where their line is. Not enough still yet, but enough to get Trudeau out, to get a majority government for the Conservatives. And I wonder about places like this, like Denver, right? That's a blue city. Most of the big cities in the States are blue, I wonder, is there a line where they will turn from blue to purple to red? I mean, this seems like the sort of thing that should do it for them. Like, imagine, like, what is it going to be like with all of, they're going to have masses of tent cities because the Biden is determined to keep getting people there, right? More people there. It's going to become unlivable. Where is their line? There are some places that I think don't have a line, like San Francisco doesn't have a line, I don't think. Or the line is so far, their lives have to become so terrible, right? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I guess we're going to see. Does Denver have a line where they're willing to change their allegiance? All right. Betsy says, no, it's cool. Just saying, don't want you backtracking when you already moved on. It's so cool, man. Anyway, thanks for giving me that heads up there. Appreciate it. Let's see. They'll cut the budgets for fire, police, education, transportation, sanitation, and other social services for American citizens. Is that the line that the people need to reach? Elon Musk parody, so it's not actually Elon Musk. Recent studies show the actual numbers of illegal immigrants in the U.S. is currently close to 22 million. Jesus. That's a little over half the population of Canada. And some of the left is advocating for these people to have full voting rights and citizenship. Yes. The largest election delta in U.S. history was 17 million votes. Reagan. Well, yeah. I mean, obviously the naturalizing and giving full voting rights and citizenship. I mean, that's obviously a Democrat plan. That's long-term thinking. That's the long play. Obviously, right? Clearly. It's something they talk about quite a lot, or they skirt around the edges of it quite a lot. But the other thing that is being chattered about right now is that they're offering, or they're going to, it sounds like they may be offering citizenship for people who join the armed forces, the United States. There's a lot coming in. There's a lot of, it seems mostly from the videos I see, fighting aged males. So the question is, what do they need them for? Well, the obvious answer is war, right? Maybe World War III? What's being planned? We know that, I think that a big reason for the kind of deep state attack and sabotage of Trump was the no new wars thing. I know he did do some bombing. There was Soleimani, the Iranian guy, Iranian general. I know he did, he wasn't entirely peaceful. But no new wars, right? And then also, peace deals in the Middle East. So, I don't know. I guess the question is, are they gearing up for something? Are they gearing up for something? Maybe even before the election? I mean, a lot of bringing in millions of fighting age males. I mean, seemingly beyond all reason, but there must be a reason. Is that it? They want to get them into the military? They want to send them off somewhere? I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, this is all just speculation, right? Here's one, the Trump train. It must be done. Let the deportations begin. I don't know. I mean, if Trump gets in, I don't know how he doesn't do mass deportations. I mean, I think people, the majority of the American people, I mean, consider it's happening so rapidly, right? That the time from now until November is a long time. It's a long time for a lot of people to come in. It's not a short time when they're coming in at 10,000 people a day? So, I think it would be actually popular if he did it. Because again, people are finding a line. When people don't feel safe, that's another thing. When people start to get hungry, people can't afford things because immigration affects inflation. Obviously, it's about supply and demand. Right? You got more demand, price is going to go up. Let's see. Let me state the obvious. Illegal immigration is illegal. Yeah, it used to be anyway. Let's see. None of what's going on with illegal immigration is sustainable. That's exactly what Joe Biden and the Democrats want. They want chaos and crime. They want our cities to fall. Democrats can't win with American citizens, so they want them replaced with illegals. Well, that's an interesting thought, isn't it? RSN 40 says, at this point, there has to be mass deportations and a complete stop to immigration for a number of years for the U.S. to survive. Yeah, it seems like it. It seems like it. I mean, it's just, it. Are we overusing the words common sense? Right? Like, just clearly it is necessary. I guess it's a goal just to get so many in that then they can say it's a humanitarian crisis to deport them. You know, I don't know, but it is madness. I mean, this will be written about in the history books, no question. I don't think it'll be a chapter in a history book. I think it'll be books. The entire books will be written about this chapter. In 100 years, they'll be writing entire books. The way that people write books about the fall of the Roman Empire, possibly. Let's see. Hollywood currently, Jesus. Depressing shit. Depressing shit. Let's see. All right, let's move on to the next thing. We're an hour and a half in. What time is it? It's past 11 o'clock here. All right, let's keep moving. I don't know how long we're going to go, but at least another half hour, I should think. Well, what is this? So, all right. Security threat against Trudeau, all of Canada's concerned. So, what happened? Well, Trudeau was getting into his car, and then some Palestinian protesters basically tried to mob him, and then, yeah. Let's take a look.
Shame, Trudeau! Shame on you! 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 Get out of here! Shame on you! 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 Shame on you!
Well, they were merely trying to culturally enrich him. I mean, isn't that obvious? I mean, according to Trudeau, that's our greatest strength right there, Of course, it didn't really get much. This is the Toronto Sun. It's conservative leaning in paper in Canada. Media is not really interested in this, What can Trudeau say? Right? This is his whole plan. Just bring the entire Middle East to Canada. He'd love to do that. Bring the entire third world to Canada. I don't see how he can complain. I mean, this is what he wanted, right? Keeps telling us that this is our strength. Of course, the media is not going to talk about it. It's one of those uncomfortable, embarrassing things that kind of proves that everything Trudeau says and everything they say is obviously total bullshit and fairy tales, Let's see. YouTube is saying that the stream's bit rate is lower than the recommended. I don't know. Is anybody watching on YouTube right now? Tell me if everything looks okay. Because I don't know how to fix that. No fucking idea. So it's probably going to have to just stay that way. But if anybody on YouTube is watching this, let me know in the comments if the stream's working okay. Yeah. All right. So anyway, Trudeau deserves it. Shame, shame, Trudeau. Shame, shame, Trudeau. The Free Palestine protesters calling for a ceasefire shouted, "Shame on you, shame on you." Well, I mean, they are right. I mean, he is shameful, right? So they're right about that. Trudeau originally looked in the direction, but yeah, he looked in the direction and went, "Oh shit, diversity. Fuck, get me in the car. This is not supposed to affect me. It's supposed to affect normal Canadians." Let's see. After being prompted by his protection detail of about 8 plainclothes officers, was guided with a hand on his back, not to his SUV, but to a lead car that had a clearer path of escape. So, I mean, they're supposed to be harassing Jewish bakeries, right? But now they're harassing Trudeau himself. Well, that wasn't part of his plan. And it's all so predictable, you know. When can we get rid of this fucking guy? I mean, you want to talk about insane immigration? Canada's actually got the most per capita in the world right now. Right? He's increased the population of Canada by something like 3 million people in like the last 4 years. It's crazy. Our systems, our infrastructure, everything is falling apart. It's being crushed under the weight of all this immigration. I mean, house prices, inflation, healthcare. You don't want to wait 18 hours at the emergency room? Well, too bad. Too bad. That's Canada now. $1 million for a hovel? Too bad. That's Canada now. Never be able to afford a house? You know, you're 30, you'll never be able to afford a house? Too bad. That's Canada now. Thanks to Trudeau. Anyway. It's all depressing shit. Really, you know. Anyway, I think it's funny that happened to him. Let's see. If you're disgruntled about taxes, there's one person you can thank, according to this woman, who is possibly wearing glasses from the Rachel Maddow collection. Oh boy, I bet you this is going to be good.
Who are posting about having to pay taxes this year. It's only January. And hopefully people are going to figure out that the reason they're having to pay taxes this year is because of Donald Trump. Thanks to TikTok, a lot of those people are going to figure that out. I wonder how many of them might have voted for Donald Trump before they figured out that he's responsible for them having to, he's responsible for the withholding rules changing and all of that bullshit, trying to give them more money in their pockets and then totally screwing everybody at the checkout counter, so to speak, when they go to file their taxes.
It's amazing the pretzels these people will twist their minds into to blame Trump. I mean, it's just the Trump derangement has not gone away at all. The Orange Man Bad has not gone away at all. It's just incredible. It's incredible. This is what she's focusing on. You got at least 8 million people crossing the border illegally since Biden got into office. This is her concern. The world is burning, right? The world is burning right now. And this is what she wants to blame Trump for taxes. It's baffling. But I mean, this is cult behavior, right? This is when you're so connected. Your identity is so connected with this political line, right? That Trump is bad. Trump is bad. I think it's the idea of ever admitting you were wrong is so terrifying, right? Because it cuts to the core of their identity. It's all of their friends. It's everybody they're around. They can't go back. So this is what you see. These insane levels of cope. Let's see. Get Set says you can't argue against the data, so this must be good. Still don't believe the trans genocide is happening? Take a few seconds to listen to this trans activist lay out the most persuasive and lucid and data-rich case yet. Okay, I'm sure this is going to be good.
Because that is what is going on in here. That is what the trans genocide in this country, in this city, has brought me to.
Okay, settle down, commie. We get your point. What do they mean by this trans genocide? I mean, obviously that society, nobody's rounding up, like the black shirts aren't rounding up trans people and sending them to camps and whatnot. So what do they mean by the trans genocide? They mean something by it. I mean, not what the words would actually mean, something else. but they're trying to express something using those words. What exactly is it? Like what constitutes a genocide for them? I think that it is like not telling kids that they're born in the wrong body. Like I think it's not giving double mastectomies to 16-year-olds. Like it's not chemically castrating teenagers, right? That's what they see as the genocide. You know, like being a responsible parent or medical professional, doctor, whatever, right? Like, and just saying, like, hold on a second. You know, we're not going to jump into this. Hold on. Maybe you need to talk to some people. Maybe there's some other factors involved here. Maybe your self-diagnosis isn't correct. I believe that's what they're talking about when they're talking about transgenocide. Because it sure don't mean actual transgenocide, obviously. I mean, in terms of like violence, like or murders, like the numbers actually, according to the FBI's own statistics, are not higher for trans people than they are the general population. So that's not happening. Is genocide just simply anybody who questions anything that they say about gender? Let's see. G-Flood is saying that the 2017 tax cuts reduce people's taxes monthly and annually, but disproportionately more monthly. So they paid less all year and bitched that they didn't have more taken and handed back to them. Yeah. So that's good to know. That woman is I mean, she's obviously deranged. She's just looking for something. I'm sure she believes in the Jean E. Carroll thing from 30 years ago with no evidence and actually apparently lied several times. They'll take what they can get. Anyway, actually, let's see the comments on this one. And then they say it's not a mental disorder. Yeah, strange that. I was going to listen, but I saw the scream and realized there's nothing worth hearing. Yeah. Well, usually when you resort to screaming, that's where your argument breaks down, right? And let's see. What's going on here? Are they doing some music thing here with it? Okay, let's check it out. I wasn't expecting that. That was fantastic. Most of this stuff I'm seeing for the first time with you guys. That was good. I was surprised by that. It's actually perfect. I want to hear that one more time. Hold on. I'm saying that's fire right now. That is good. Let's see. I once saw an art installation in Seattle that had people screaming. You know, I did a video. I was looking at a video my last live stream? I think it was, where there was this modern art exhibition, and it was just all these buckets with sand in them stacked up, and then it just fell over. And then when it fell over, the artist gave it a couple of beats, and then put his arms out just to signal, that's it, that's the show, so everybody could applaud. And like trained seals, they all applauded. They thought they'd seen something beautiful and historic. Yeah. I feel like we have too many of those people now. Too many. Oh, this is a good point. While woke comedy is pathetic, woke tragedy is comedic. Yeah, that's true. That's an excellent point. All right. If you're willing to shoot someone who's trying to steal your dog, it means you value your dog more than somebody's life. Me? So anyway, I started blasting. Is that a Sunny? It's always Sunny reference there? I think it is. My belief is you should be able to shoot somebody who's trying to steal your dog, and nobody will dissuade me from that. It seems like the modern left just wants everybody to be a fucking victim, as much of a victim as they are. All right. Let's see. All right, let's move on. Jesus. So this kind of solves a bit of a mystery. What is this? I think the name is like, I think Gorlock the Destroyer, I think is the popular name. But trans influencer. So I always kind of wondered exactly what this creature is. And I guess it's been confirmed. This is a trans influencer. And this trans influencer says declining masculinity is getting out of control and men expect the princess treatment on dates. I really don't know where to start with this. So maybe we better go to the comments because I've got a feeling there might be something really good in here. Back in my day, blowing a tranny was an automotive issue. This is Karine Jean-Pierre. Hold on, I'm not here to answer questions. I'm just here because I'm a black lesbian. And yeah, I think they just admitted that, like openly, didn't they, when they brought her on? Let's see. What's this? Gorlock the Destroyer. That's right. Gorlock the Destroyer. Your man is in her DMs. That's actually better looking than Gorlock, though. All right, he has to make $100,000 a year, pay my bills, be at least 6'5", and take care of my 4 kids and 5 baby daddies. Also her. All right, is there the clip in here of Gorlock on that show with the Jabba the Hutt thing? He needs to be lean, strong, 6'2" plus, nice hair, a beard, make six figures, luxury car. Her. Yeah, that is the way it is these days, apparently. Let's see. Notice the resemblance. Oh, yeah. That's ugly. Wouldn't be able to get away with that anymore, I don't think. Oh, Gorlock the Destroyer. This is why I love the internet. I know that the internet is also evil, but there's also wonderful things that happen, like Gorlock the Destroyer. Let's see. What the hell is that? Ooh, ouch. Okay. Probably deserved it, though, I think. Let's see. Zenifer wants everyone to know how stunning and brave he is, and that he expects princess treatment on brave. So this must be a joke, right? I mean, it's hard to tell anymore. Like, satire's dead, parody's dead. It's hard to tell, but, you know, just my first thought is that this must be a parody. This must be a joke. Bad Seeds heading out. Night all. It's too late. Thanks for Baloney. Thanks a lot for stopping in, man. Have a great night. Have a good sleep. See you next time, hopefully. Yeah, I should say that we normally go Friday nights. We can't this weekend, but next week we will be back to Friday nights again. So that's why I'm doing it early this week on a Wednesday, because I couldn't do it this Friday. Happens sometimes. I don't know. Parody or not, real or not, I don't know. You can't fucking tell anymore. All right, I'm looking for the clip of Gorlock here. Babe, a penis isn't such a big deal. I don't know, Jenny. I kind of wish you didn't have one at all. I guess that was that small penis isn't such a big deal. Let's see. Leave her alone. There, always the Jabba the Hutt memes in there. Where is it? It's got to be. Somebody's got to have posted it. Where is that? My favorite Gorlock clip. So I think this is Gorlock here. Raimundo Lopez. I remember seeing this a while ago. So, I mean, look, there can't be two people who look exactly like that. That's got to be Gorlock there. Oh, Jesus. Okay, I think it's Narful the Gorlock. Okay. I'm going to keep going until I find it's got to be in here somewhere. It's got to be in here. Somebody must have posted it. Where? Oh, Jesus. What's this? Let's take a look. I mean, it's mean, but I don't know. I mean, how can you not? You can't expect people not to do this. All right, so that's it. We're going to go back. We got one. It wasn't the one I was looking for, but maybe I've got it saved somewhere further down here. Well, here's Viva Fry talking about Trudeau wanting to change the election legislation to, it's election fortification, don't you know? I know that people in the States know about that. We already talked about that. We're not going to go on any further. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's take a look at this.
That's terrible to me. That's terrible. If they at the White House Communications Office want him to make news and want him, that's terrible to me. That's terrible. If they at the White House Communications Office want him to make news and want him to take questions, do it in a way where the American people, our allies and our adversaries can hear him clearly. And then you won't get all the questions as to his mental capacities because you could actually hear him if he's being coherent. I find it professionally insulting as somebody who used to work there that they think that this is good enough for the president to take a question like that when you can't actually hear him above the rotating blades. The other day, he was at the Nowhere Coffee Company. He answered.
Yep, it's obviously preferable for the people not to be able to hear him for obvious reasons. He can't talk. I guess this is a new trick they're going to do. They're just going to have something really loud happening when he does like a press conference or something. What's going on with this here?
Silly rabbit, tricks are for kids. And that's also why I haven't had them in a while. I haven't had tricks in a while either. But that's not what that is. Oh, man. Well, what is it? I knew this was coming. I'm glad. Oh, can we also get some tricks? No!
Yeah, there's a mental health problem in the West right now. Here's Joe Rogan. Let's listen to this.
Austin people are great people. They're really nice. They're nice. They're not shitheads. They're not Hollywood people. They're not lost in this fake world of leftist ideology that everybody's trapped in. They're just people. They're just regular people, man. And those people exist outside of these blue bubbles where everyone's gone insane. Well, I used to be a part of the blue bubble. I was 100% a left-leaning person who lived in Los Angeles. I was 100%. I never voted Republican my whole life. I was very left-leaning, especially with like any social issues. When it comes to financial things, I'm a little bit more conservative. But at the end of the day, I'm way more left than I am right. But California went nuts.
See, I think there's some confusion these days. Like, you have, all these traditional liberals. You used to have all these traditional liberals. There's not many of them anymore, especially not in the public eye. Like a Brett Weinstein would be like a traditional liberal. There used to be people called liberals that were sane, right? It's not that long ago, right? But what you have now is far left, and it's different. It's authoritarian left. It's not your old burnout art teacher from the 80s, right? These are authoritarian leftists who have authoritarian ambitions, right? Like there are lots of people on the left now who don't have a problem with like re-education and camps and things. I'm telling you, it's scary, but it's true. Especially if they've been through university, especially an elite, or an Ivy League university, or the equivalent in Canada or UK. They're different things now. So there's a lot of people calling themselves liberal who are not liberal. They're authoritarian leftists, right? These are people that are more comfortable around Chairman Mao, than they would be they're definitely more comfortable near Chairman Mao than they would be somebody who has actually, moderate, like Trump. They, for everything that they say, for all of their freaking out and catastrophizing about Trump, he had moderate policies. They were moderate, right? For the modern left, for the authoritarians, really, there are no limits to how far left they will go, to how authoritarian they will get and they will aspire towards. The thing is, if you're progressive, that means you have to keep progressing. But progressing towards what? Well, just whatever feels left. Whatever feels left, they have to keep going. And where you were standing 5 seconds ago, that's now right. You can't go back because you're a progressive. You've got to keep going in that direction. Of course, most people on the left don't actually understand their bizarre, incoherent ideology, because it is, woke people, woke ideology is incoherent. Doesn't make any sense. Right? On one hand, gender is a social construct. On the other hand, a 5-year-old can know that they're born in the wrong body. None of it makes any fucking sense. Where was I going with that rant? Exactly. Oh yeah. So for Joe Biden, Jesus Christ. How long have I been going? It's only 2 hours. For Joe Rogan, he's saying he's more on the left, but no, the left is something different than what he considered it to be in the past. He used to just say like left and liberal, and they were kind of the same thing. Not the same thing anymore. But anyway.
Man, it's gone like full communist. It's out of its fucking mind. And their approach to law enforcement is so insane. It's so insane. The no cash bail, the letting people out for committing violent crimes, the fucking not stopping people for stealing up to whatever money it is. What is it, $900 now? I think they raised it. I think they made it a little higher. San Francisco is non-existent. Most of San Francisco is emptied out of like big chain stores and big department stores. Because
I wouldn't even do stand up there anymore.
It's crazy.
They ruined it.
They ruined the city.
Yeah,
I mean, you can bring it back. The structure's still there, but
Yeah,
you'd have
yeah.
to have some hardcore Rudy Giuliani type motherfucker to come in there and knock heads.
Wow.
And nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. They're peace, love, and granola and fucking wear a mask.
I'm in the middle now.
I'm in the middle. I
never thought I would ever say that.
Never.
It only happened in this last year.
Right. Exactly.
I just went, I can't do it anymore.
Do you know what the problem is with these guys? I like Joe Rogan, and I think actually Bobby Lee's pretty funny. I liked him on Mad TV anyway. The problem is that all these signs were coming for a long time. Like I used to consider myself a liberal, and I started to change at least the way I labeled myself, probably going back around 8 years or something ago. It was around the time when it first became really obvious that the left was not liberal, and these were people that were very deeply opposed to things that I cared about, like free speech, free expression. But the guys like Joe Rogan, I mean, he came around in 2020, I think late 2020, after he witnessed all the madness of the shutdowns in California. But he'd seen all of the decay that was happening with, basically one party rule in California, but he didn't, he just kind of ignored it. They all just kind of ignored it. Even guys like Brett Weinstein, who I admire Brett Weinstein, but he was in that whole atmosphere for years. I mean, being a professor, he would have known that it was happening for decades, right? It wasn't a new thing for him. You know, that's what we kept hearing. Oh, this is just crazy college kids, you know, happening on the campuses, right? Well, he was there seeing it for a long time before it blew up in his face at Evergreen College. You know, it's something they just kind of let happen around them. You know, it was, I think, the path of least resistance. But at least, you know, hey, when somebody does come around, you've got to just welcome them, I think. So anyway, let's continue.
You know, I mean, people that you thought were aligned with you are like now like mad at you about shit.
They're in a cult. They're in a cult. It's got all, I mean, Mark Andreessen, who's a brilliant venture capitalist guy, explained it to me in very clear terms, like what the definition of a cult is, how you can get excommunicated, how you get shamed for having differing opinions, the group think, the whole, he's like, it's a cult. And he's right. He's 100% right.
Yeah.
It's just hard to say because then people in the cult will attack you. But they're not attacking you for a reasonable, it's not logical. Like the way they're attacking you. They're attacking like someone attacks religious beliefs.
Yeah.
And some of these religious beliefs, so it gets into these weird gray areas, like trans people in women's bathrooms. Like, says who?
Yeah.
Says who? How do you know that's a real trans person? How do you not know that's a fucking creep that wants to pull his dick out in front of kids?
Yes. I mean, it's a great point about, I mean, we've heard this many times before, that, you know, wokeness for, you know, what would you call it? Progressivism, wokeness, whatever. It is a religion. It's all just operating on faith. It's like immigration, good. Any kind of immigrant, like anybody crossing the border into your country, good. Doesn't matter how legal, illegal, it's all good, right? If you ask them, well, like, what's the limit exactly? Like, what's the number that's too much? They will never answer. They will never answer that. They'll just deflect, right? They know that there's, you know, a number. I mean, it's impossible to not know that, say, like for Canada, population of 40 million, to say, we'll bring in 40 million people in 1 year. It's impossible to not know that that's a disaster. That's a disaster for everybody involved, right? People are here and the people are coming here. It would be fucking bedlam, right? You'd have people starving to death, like literally. You just simply can't absorb that many people. So they must know, but they won't answer the question. It's just that immigration good, right? We were told that in college. We're told that on TikTok. It's good, always good. Okay, but again, 40 million people in 1 year, good. Wouldn't that be too many? Well, immigration's good, right? Like, you can't get anywhere because it's all articles of faith. The gender thing is an article of faith, right? A gender is the progressive soul. It's this, you know, this metaphysical concept to them, where there can be infinite numbers, and it could be anything, right? It could be, you could be deer gender, right? And it's absolutely true. Why? Just because it is. But that person's not actually a deer. Well, it doesn't mean that. So they're not really a deer. Well, yes, they are. They're deer gender. They believe they are, so they are. It's, again, this is an article. It's, everything is an article of faith with them. And of course, they have the heretics and all of that, and original sin, which is white privilege. Yeah, it's very much so. All right. Well, this is interesting. Flashback. Biden warning in 2020 that Trump was so dangerous, he was worried he would get the U.S. into a war with Iran. Wow. Wow.
The world has changed because what Trump has done. And the American people, including independents and some Republicans, know how bad he is, know how much he's misrepresented, know how he's getting close to getting us in a war. I said, as the walls close in on this man, I'm worried he's going to get us to war in Iran. Unfortunately, I may have been right. The fact of the matter is there's a lot at stake in this election. The world has changed because what Trump has done.
Okay, it's not surprising that Biden lies constantly. What's actually surprising watching this only from 3 years ago is how articulate he actually is, even compared to now. I mean, he wasn't particularly then, but Listen to this. Like, he is not capable of speaking like this now.
The world has changed because what Trump has done. And the American people, including independents and some Republicans, know how bad he is, know how much he's misrepresented, know how he's getting close to getting us in a war.
I mean, you don't see that level of coherence from him now, right? Like, he's really deteriorated even since then. And he was making, I mean, that's like that's probably the most articulate that I've heard from him from that time period right there. And he's clearly just simply not capable of even that level anymore. That's what's actually really striking. The fact that he just constantly lies, that's not surprising. Let's see. Oh, that's nice. Looks like they're having a nice time. That's what you call a palate cleanser right there. So elections have consequences. How it started, how it's going. 2021 brought progressive immigration policies to Colorado. New laws nix proof of lawful presence for benefits and licenses. Establish legal defense fund. Amazing. New laws nix proof of lawful presence for benefits and licenses. Again, I keep seeing this. I see this stuff every single day, and still, they say you got to stop and smell the roses. Well, you got to stop occasionally and notice how fucking retarded everything is. Here's something that's actually just nice. It's just nice. Let's take a look. This is that girl is blind, and Beyonce is making sure she felt her presence there. This is just a nice thing, actually. This actually kind of almost brought a tear to my eye.
Sophie, I think I need you to help me sing this song. You think you can sing to the left? Say, to the left, to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sing. To the left, to the left. Yeah! One more time, Sophie. Sing. To the left, to the left. In the closet, that's my stuff. Let's pick up body, baby. Please don't touch.
That's actually just really nice. I don't know. I thought that was just lovely. It's important sometimes to just see things that are just nice. People just being nice, you know? And I've got to say, Beyonce looks great there too. But anyway, let's move on. So this is interesting. Men and women are lining up against each other politically across the world. Yeah, I've been seeing a bunch of stuff about this lately. The differences in voting patterns between men and women. Not surprisingly, men are far more conservative than women. Women far more liberal, but you can't even really call it liberal anymore. Like the Liberal Party in Canada is not liberal, right? It's illiberal at this point. It's run by Justin Trudeau. What if only men voted? Here's what that looks like using the Main Street polling. Conservatives 244 seats, which is, you know, it's only 170 seats for a majority in Canadian Parliament. So yeah, that would be good. If it were men voting, there'd never be another Liberal victory in Canada again, which would be good. I mean, I think we need at least 20 years without a Liberal government in Canada, because Trudeau has caused generational problems, and it'll take 20 years to fix everything. Everything that Trudeau has done is not going to get fixed in 4 years. We're in it for the long haul now. He has fundamentally altered the country. But, you know, even amongst the women vote, now, Poilievre, the conservative leader in Canada, has actually got last time I checked, the last poll I saw actually had a greater share of the female vote, the woman vote in Canada than Trudeau. So, you know, there was a lot of women who voted for Trudeau's impeccable hair and teeth, and literally that's why they voted for him. And one thing about women is that when they lose respect for a man, that's it. They'll never go back. They'll never respect you again. You know, That's why you never cry in front of a woman, by the way. Or look like a completely incompetent idiot in front of them, as Trudeau has done. So I'm pretty confident he's not going to win that female vote back. Again, once they turn their back on you, that's it. Really, it is. But anyway, let's look at the comments for this as well. No surprise. Sorry, but women are too emotional to be allowed to vote. Let the hate begin. No comment. It was always the women. Oh, this is a quote from 1984, George Orwell. It was always the women, and above all, the young ones, who were the most bigoted adherents of the party, the swallowers of slogans, the amateur spies, and nosers out of unorthodoxy. Well, George Orwell was a wise man. Wise man. Hate to sound sexist, but I got to agree with the fellas on this one. Let's see. All right. Let's keep going. We would be free by now if you just comply. I literally never stop being free. Yeah, I guess that's the thing, isn't it? Oh God, this one is about the medical assistance and dying in Canada. Yeah, they're making it. They're expanding it out for people with just mental disabilities in Canada, which is, well, insane. No pun intended. That's too depressing. I've actually made videos on this. You can check out if you subscribe to the channel. If you're not already, you can find that along with lots of other great videos about important things. What's missing to complete her ensemble? Well, in fact, I'm not going to put the sound on because she's not talking, and the music will get my channel copyright claimed. So, So that's the thing people are doing now. So, So I guess blowjobs are out of the question. Not with those chompers. Too much tooth? Yeah, too much tooth. Let's see. Oh, this was great. Joy Reid caught on a hot mic saying what she actually really thinks amazingly.
Over the weekend, President Biden said he's ready to take action if Congress is serious about solving the border issue.
If that bill were the law today, I'd shut down the border right now and fix it quickly. And Congress needs to get it done.
Starting another fucking war. Over the weekend.
Starting another fucking war, she says. It shows you just how contemptible these people really are. Because she's just out there every day stumping for this guy. For everything that he wants, demonizing anybody who disagrees. Yet there she is on the hot mic, speaking actual sense for once. I mean, Michael Malice is always constantly saying enemy of the people. And yeah, I mean, what else do you call it? I mean, we know that they're liars, but it's incredible when you actually catch them in the act, you know? Truly amazing. Let's take a look at the comments here. When keeping it real goes wrong. This tells me she knows full well that she has sold out and is consciously carrying the water for the Democrats. She does not suffer the consequences, so she doesn't care. Yeah, that checks out. Joy Reid is an actor playing a role on TV for our entertainment. She reveals herself as an ordinary, reasonable human being when she breaks character for a moment. I think that, to dole out to express the kind of spleen that she does and spite that she does, I think that she really is an awful person, like beyond playing the character. I think it just comes very naturally to her. I mean, I just made a video, last week, the week before. She was complaining there's too many white Christians in Iowa. That's why Trump won in Iowa. I mean, it's amazing that that's allowed on network news shows, but it shows just how corrupt and how much they have strayed from their mission of actually informing people to just simply becoming activists, cheerleaders, and propagandists. But you guys knew that. I don't need to tell you. What is this? This is just a random thing that I found kind of
These
funny.
bags have a flower. Every 15 to 20 minutes. Everyone wants to take my muffins from me. I can hear them talking in the wall. These bags have a flower on them.
I hope Hunter Biden's seen this. I think he'd really appreciate it. That was very good. All right. So let's see. Here's healthcare, the state of healthcare now after insane mass immigration. UK, I need stitches. Your appointment is in 43 months. United States, I need stitches. Your bill will be $67,000. Canada, I need stitches. Have you considered dying? So this is a joke about our fucking insane medical assistance and dying or MAID programs here, where the government is basically just encouraging everybody it can to kill themselves so that they can save money is what it seems to be. I mean, expanding it to people that are just that have nothing more than just simple mental illness. That just seems like eugenics to me. Crazy. AJ McLean says $40 muffins. I think so. The neighbor said they're like crack. Let's see. Oh, Jesus. This is just, I don't even know if I want to expose you guys to this, but all right, let's go for it. If you think your life is bad, these are Siamese brothers, and just one is gay, and they got just one ass. Just one is gay, and they got just one ass. If you think your life is bad, see, this is a lesson, and it can always be worse. Always be worse. Count your blessings. Take a second, reset, take a look around, and think of the things that you're grateful for. One of those things should be that you're not one half of a Siamese twins, where the other Siamese twin is gay, and you've got just one ass. So yeah, things can get worse, and get a lot worse. Look at his face there. He's just like, oh God, not again. The honeymoon must have been a fucking nightmare for him. Let's see. Introducing Wrong Hole Barbie. I believe they call it the French mistake. Wasn't that the song in Blazing Saddles at the end? You know, hands on your hips, give them a push, blah, 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 blah. You're doing the French mistake. I've always thought that was a very funny term, the French mistake. Oops. Try to keep the channel fairly G-rated or PG-rated at least. But anyway, let's just forget about that. That never happened. Mommy, I think I'm a boy. Well, you're not. That's the way to handle it. Well, you're not. All right. All right, hold on a sec. All right, what do we got? I like this one. You may think you're cool, but you'll never be as cool as a Mongolian shepherd with an AK-47 and a pet snow leopard. Yeah, I think it's too late for me anyway. What could make it cooler, exactly? I don't know, like a hot chick in a bikini on that pony there. That would make it a little bit cooler, I think. But aside from that, he's still doing pretty damn good. You know, I often wonder, people who have pets like snow leopards and bears and things, like, you've got to be really confident that thing isn't going to fucking eat you, because it happens. Like, I was just reading this thing. There's some Russian guy. Russians love fucking around with bears for some reason. He like found like a bear cub and he raised it, and it was completely bonded to him for years. And then one day, just nope, now you're food. Ate him. I think they found his head. So no matter how confident you are, it's probably too confident. Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? Yeah, I just moved here from California. Yeah, we've been expecting Canada. We've been expecting all these waves. We were expecting all these waves of like Californians and liberals from the United States when Trump got elected. You know what? They never showed up. I mean, don't get me wrong. We were glad. At least I was. But they never showed up for some reason. Oh, wonder why that is. Let's see. World War II ends. Nazi scientists. We did get a lot, but you know, the Soviets got a lot of Russian scientists or German scientists as well. Everybody did. Well, everybody, like the US and Russia got a lot. I wonder, you know, something I should research actually. I wonder if the British, like the British and the French, got any. Probably not. Probably not the French. Maybe the British might have gotten some. I don't know. I should look that up actually. It's interesting. Let's see. You misgendered me. You have misgendered yourself. That's the best response right there. You have misgendered yourself. Oh, this is good. Okay, we got to check this one out. We're going to get back on the immigration thing.
You just think that anyone can come to the U.S. like
Absolutely. If you go to New York, go to the Statue of Liberty, what's it say?
Which is
All
Lucifer.
is welcome.
I don't think it says that, but dude, this is great because
Okay.
I just happened to pick up 3 guys from Honduras. Well, they were at Home Depot. They're from Honduras and they have nowhere to go. So this just works out perfect. Look, Hector takes medication twice a day, and right now they got to use the bathroom. All 3 of them.
What was that?
Medication twice a day.
Hector takes medications twice a day.
And right now they got to use the bathroom. All 3 of them.
Gracias.
Is it cool they stay here?
No.
Why not?
They're not allowed to stay here. What
do you mean?
I don't know them. Who are they?
All right, so they can't stay here then? It's cool if they come to the country, just not your house.
No.
Come on, bro. Come on, bro.
Hypocrite. Let's go, guys. Let's go. Sorry, man. Hypocrite.
So I believe that's what you call NIMBYism. Not in my backyard. People overflowing with empathy. They just don't, you know, they don't want those people around them. I mean, sure, they're super empathetic. They're much better people than you know, and they love their progressive policies and they want to help everybody, just not personally want you to do it. I think that they're bad people. So this was kind of funny. Snopes fact check that here. So there's that picture of Biden taken where he clearly had the hard hat on backwards, right? That's the back. See there, that's the back. That's the back. He's got it on the front. He's trying to look like he's an everyman, right? Hardworking man. Like he can relate to the hardworking man out there, the construction workers. And obviously, I mean, he's never done. Has Biden ever done a hard day's work in his life? I think he's just always been a politician, hasn't he? Snopes fact check this, and they the claim. Well, here's the claim: President Joe Biden wore a hard hat backwards during a photo op with union construction workers in Superior, Wisconsin. Rating false. Well, I mean, we can see right there that it's actually on backwards. That's Snopes. These are the fact checkers. These are the people that are relied upon to decide, who gets canceled off social media, right? This is, who the mainstream media goes to for their facts, who like Facebook goes to, right? They rely on these guys to tell them what's truth and what's not truth. In this case, well, it wasn't truth. Unsurprisingly, they actually had to go back. It was so obvious. They had to change it to true because it just, I mean, you just can't, it's so obvious you can't get away with lying there, right? They tried, but maybe they just don't know what a hard hat is. I don't know. We received a ton of comments in a very short time challenging our assumption that wearing a hard hat backwards means wearing it with the brim facing to the rear, and forwards means wearing the brim to the front. Yeah, you got caught. You had to change it. It's pathetic, but the value of this, it's ultimately a fairly small thing, but the value of it is just to show how deceptive they are, just generally speaking. Here's one thing they had to change, but generally they don't. The only reason they had to change it is because it's so damn obvious. All right. Oh, this was good. Okay. Here's the mayor actually doing a good job.
Earl, members of the board, my name is Craig Schubert. I'm the mayor of this city. It has come to my attention that your educators are distributing essentially what is child pornography in the classroom. I've spoken to a judge this evening. She's already confirmed that. So I'm going to give you a simple choice. Either choose to resign from this Board of Education, or you will be charged. Thank you.
Yeah, that deserves some more applause.
Schubert, I'm the mayor of this city.
More of that, please. All right. You know what? I think that's it for tonight. Yeah, it's midnight here, 2.5 hours. We're going about 2 hours less than normal, but it's Wednesday night. So I think that's going to be it, folks. Yeah, again, no live stream this Friday. Can't do it. That's why I'm here tonight. But we will. I might actually do one on Saturday night. We'll see how I'm feeling. If I've got the energy, I might do one on Saturday night. But we'll just have to see. Otherwise, it'll be next Friday again, both Rumble and YouTube. Anybody who's not subscribed, who's listening right now, subscribe so you'll know about it. And you can also check out the rest of my videos. And I put out tons of them all the time, and they're good. And they're not live. These are videos that I edit. I spend a lot of time on them to try and make them as perfect as I can for you guys. Lots of research. So subscribe, and you'll always know when those come out too. But everybody, have a great night. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks to everybody who was in the chat. That makes it way more fun for me. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.